So my friends are coming over in less than an hour, or an hour and so, and I thought before that we can have a little bit of a chat. I collected all the questions that you guys have asked. I put it in the community tab, and then you guys can just leave the questions there. Sometimes I post there between the videos. Before I start to read the questions, I just want to say a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for watching the videos and clicking on this one and listening, and I will try to do my best to pronounce the things and speak slowly so you guys can understand me better. Here's a thing. So with pronunciation and speaking English, to me it's not as easy because I have a processing disorder, which means if I hear some kind of letters, I hear it in a different way. It's just something that my brain doesn't sort out in a way that it's supposed to be. I don't hear on my left ear, so there's a bone that is missing that's supposed to be there, but it's not. But it does explain why I was never able to locate the phone when it was ringing. So there was a bunch of weird things that I thought it was my quirkiness, but it's just like I don't really hear on the left ear. I would love to know your story, how you met, and maybe talk a little bit about your wedding day. That would be amazing. Watching all the way from Ireland. Thank you for this sweet question. I think I answered to this in my first Q&A video. I will link it down below. The other video where we did a Q&A with Joat, so that basically covers all the basics. But the wedding day, I don't think I talked about that in that Q&A, and that was a busy day as I can recall, and I just wanted to get over that. And Joat felt the same way. I just wanted to be married to Joat, and he just wanted to be my husband, and we just wanted to get over the whole procedure of it, because in Hungary you're supposed to invite all the relatives, and it's really hard to do financially, but also it's just there's a lot of people to invite sometimes, and then I don't like when a lot of people are watching me, which is very funny to say as I'm making this video. But it's not actual eyeballs, so it's very easy to do because I'm alone here in the studio, so that kind of feels different. But I don't like when a lot of people are watching, so that's why I was kind of feeling like I just wanted to be Joat's wife, that's all. Anyway, it was a beautiful day. That was actually the beginning of the best part of my life. I love watching your videos every week, and I appreciate your uploading so consistently. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. Do you have days, weeks when you don't feel like shooting, editing videos? Oh yeah. Do you feel burnt out from time to time? And if you do, what to do? Keep up with the schedule? Well, the schedule, yes, the weekly, it needs to get done, and honestly, I just feel so thankful that you guys are watching, and I feel like this is my thank you, that I be reliable and you can count on your 20 minutes of, I don't know, video that you can watch if it's fascinating to you, or something that you can take away or walk away with. And this is how I wanna pay you guys back. I wanna be consistent. So about if I feel like if I wanna record or not, there are days that can be hard, so on that day I just start doing something. I'm not turning on the camera, I'm just start to do something, and as I'm doing the things, that actually leads to the mood when I get more energy to do things, and I just get into a better spirit. Okay guys, I'll be back, but my first friend has just arrived. We are going to do I call it a mood board, but basically we're just cutting out some cute things, and then from magazines I have some stickers, and then we just cute it up, and then we can create a board where we have our goals and what makes us happy, just to keep us on a positive track. So I'll be back maybe tomorrow. Okay, I came to my favorite spot and I look like a bird in the cage. I picked the questions that I saw that got more likes, and that way I know that is the most commonly asked question probably. So I'm just gonna go straight to the actual question, not the whole entire comment, and then that way I can answer to more questions. I'm trying to be really just straight on the facts and answers. So the first question is, due to my ADHD and my tendency to become overstimulated, I often find it difficult to keep up with the housework. Do you have any tips for keeping up with the housework without spending hours every day? There's no other magic organization or other tips and tricks that works better than minimizing to the bare bone. So it depends what season we are in our life. I was the busiest when the boys were little, and I had to figure out the gluten and dairy-free cooking. So that's when we simplified a lot of things in the home, and we did it in layers, so whatever was easier to declutter, and then I fine-tuned later and adjusted as I was getting more and more creative what I can reuse. So that is definitely helps, the minimizing and simplifying, because I'm not good at keeping up with organization in a way of putting back things. I get very messy, I get distracted, maybe a slight ADHD, I don't know. But there's just so much information going on in one day. Even if you just think about the text and emails, we just bombarded with information. So that's why I don't like to, most of the time, sometimes I like to listen music or audiobook or something, but mainly I like to do the cleaning and this kind of stuff. I can say that everybody has a different sweet spot. Meanwhile, the process can be messy to get there, but that actually requires a lot of honesty with ourselves to face with so many things and issues that we have. When my kids were little, we were definitely more minimalistic because I was just burdened down with all the things, taking care of the kids, learning to cook gluten and dairy free. So I just wanted to be as minimal as possible with all the household items. So there are things that can actually help visually to calm you down with the design and the neutral colors. And then if you're craving more stimulation, you can go for different designs and more colors. So that's another thing to consider. Hello, how did you manage all the housework when your kids were younger? I have 4 little sons and I can't finish one thing. Any tips or ideas? I know where you are. I totally get you. That was my thing when my kids were little. I couldn't finish a thing. I was mopping while brushing my teeth, kind of multitasking. It is very, very hard when we have little kids. I would say whatever helped me the most, besides minimizing and simplifying things, I created stations for my kids with little tables and chairs. So we had one set up in the kitchen. I had some paint. I tried to keep the things there, like the paint and Play-Doh, where I had to keep my eye on it. But whatever I discovered is that my kids wanted to be near me wherever I wanted to get things done. So each room had its own spot where they were able to do something. So the kitchen, while I was cooking, they had that table, and then I had another little table that was between the living room and the kitchen, and that was just for puzzles. So they were able to just leave the whole project there and just walk away and then move to the next one once their short attention span was done, because this is what kids do, they have a short attention span. It's just how life it is with kids. It's busy, nothing gets done. And I remember I didn't like to hear that when people were saying, oh, you will miss this age. Yes, you will, and I am missing this moment now, but hearing at the time when I was so busy with the kids and I had a difficult day, it wasn't really helpful to hear that. So based on that, all I want to say, it will pass. That time will pass, and then there will be time when you can finish more and more things as they getting older. I know it seems forever, but it will be time when you can finish more things. But honestly, even today, my kids are teenagers. There are things when I have to stop and drop things and then I get distracted. So it's just family life. That's normal. Can you share how you plan and record your videos, behind the scenes look at your channel? I am thinking maybe bringing back a few, not on a regular basis, but maybe a few days in the life or day in the life videos, just because it's more fun to me to edit, or just I feel like I'm connecting more with you if I'm talking to the camera, so I can be more, I can have more freedom to say other thoughts rather than just what's connecting to the topic. Because with my homemaking video, very strictly is just based on what you see, and I'm trying to add information with the voiceover, so that's another layer, but it's really hard to jam pack a lot of information in those videos, so I cannot go into depth. So that's another thing I want to do on my website once it's really functioning properly, because guys, I poured so much money into that website. I cannot even tell you all the money, all the revenue I made from all my art products that you guys bought, and thank you so much for that. I'm so thankful. I just poured all of it and then some into my website, and I'm at the point where I like how it looks. It's beautiful, but I cannot post. It's so difficult, and then the system that has been applied, that's what makes it difficult to post, and it makes the website slower. So there's just so many issues with that. So currently, right now, we are fixing that. So with that said, I want to create posts there where I can go into more depth, like if I'm making a food, or I'm mixing some kind of a cleaner or something, and I can link it to the video and then just add another layer of communication. And then so going back to the days in the life, probably I can share more on that behind the scenes, because those homemaking videos is just purely strictly either cooking, a little bit of an art. And this is just a picture of what does it look like when I'm editing a homemaking video. And I like to use in the title the homemaking, because it's kind of a big umbrella to pull in a lot of different topics. And there's a lot that goes between that and then besides that, but it's more like my personal life. And some I will keep it that way just for many reasons, safety and privacy, but also I can do more day in the life videos, and I can share more in there. As for planning, I don't really plan my videos, honestly. It's just I'm not that organized. I wish, I'm blown away when I'm hearing that other people have plans for a whole entire month, let alone somebody has for a whole entire year. I'm not that organized, and my life is not this predictable. We have projects, so, and that order is keep changing too. And then basically, if I have to put out fire in the kitchen, then cleaning video it is in the kitchen. And then of course I'm trying to bring in other elements, so I'm trying to not repeating it too much, and adding other little itty bitty project in there, like soap making, lotion making and such. But basically it's Sunday nights, all I have is cord in that goes into the camera, and that's all. We'll see on the Monday morning. There's a very rare occasion when I had an idea where I wanted to share more tips on organizing that is more well thought out, but other than that, it's just a spare of a moment. Otherwise, I would not be able to keep up with that, because that would be too strict to me. I like freedom in the creation. How did you discover you loved the paint and create? Did you go to art school? I own one of your prints. Thank you so much. So I started to draw like a cartoonish figure when I was in the sixth grade, and everybody loved that. And then, or everybody, some people love that, let's just say it that way. And then I started to draw for everybody, and they just enjoyed the fact that it was funny, and then I was just making the cartoon of them and funny situations, and that's how it started basically. And then I got into the project where I was able to create a book, and I signed a contract, and that contract basically didn't allow me to use my art anymore. And later on, actually, it got solved on its own. But that was when I had to figure out something else, because that was part of my soul. I felt like it was cut out from my heart and from my soul, and I couldn't do that anymore. Which now I'm looking back, yeah, they weren't in the right to do that, but you know, when you are in it and then you're scared, you don't know. And then so that's when I was thinking, okay, painting it's entirely different, so let's try that. And so good things come out of the bad things. That actually pushed me to try the watercolor, which is the passion of mine. That is, I never looked back to create the other cartoon-ish type things, because that became my absolute favorite medium to do, watercolor. So that's how it started. That was back in 2000, I think 2013 or 2012-ish. And it had like waves I started to create, and then I was just going down on the rabbit hole, figuring out the paper. I never went to school to learn that. And then picking up all the things that I needed for that and just painting. With each picture I learned something new. And then of course I was busy with the boys, they were little, so I was doing a little bit here, a little bit there. I was sacrificing some sleep hours. And then I heard about the Scan Fair, and then that is basically just an organization, a Scandinavian organization, and they do 2 events in 1 year. One is around Christmas, one is about midsummer. So I picked the Christmas one when I started to sell my art. It was lovely to see the reactions of the people, what they think about my art. So that just gave me more push to do that. So, but it was very convenient in a way of being busy with the kids. I just do it a little bit here and there. And right before both of my kids would have entered to the school full time, that's when I was planning, okay, this is it, that's when I'm going to paint. We decided to homeschool, so it went back to the back burner again. And then now the time is right. It is perfect now, because I feel like I'm ready. I'm not getting distracted. My boys are older, and I think it's a perfect time. So it's all about timing. Do you have a written schedule for house cleaning and upkeep? No, I wish. I'm not that organized, or at least I would say I'm not organized in a way of writing things down. I have a very minimal, let me show you. So the only thing I write down, and not every single day, but basically when I know I have a busier day, and I have shared this before, I hope you can see it. It's just basically a daily schedule. So I just put there whatever I know I need to get done. And then what I like about this, it says that top 3 priorities, and I need that, because otherwise I'm just like all over the place. And it helps me to focus. And then for the cleaning, I have a schedule that I figured out, so I don't need a written reminder, and I kind of just fall into the flow of doing things as it worked out the best. Like obviously on the weekends I don't do as much, because either we're busy going somewhere or we're just spending time together. But on Monday it's a reset day, so I just find myself to do the washing the sheet on that day, and I tried to tie it together with other things like watering the plants, because it's a once in a week to do. And then just keep proceeding with, okay, we have to do the sink because I haven't done it in the last couple of days and it doesn't look good, then I scrub it. So basically it's just a generic upkeeping based on what I think it needs to be cleaned, although it has some structure of that just because our lifestyle. So there are days when it's better to get things done. Because of YouTube, it's not as spread out as it used to be, because back then I spread it out a little bit more during the weekdays, or when I worked I was doing it on Saturday mornings. So right now I'm just trying to gather all the things on Monday and Tuesday when I'm recording, so I can provide you with the homemaking inspiration. What was your dream job as a child, and what was yours? My dream job was probably drawing and creating. As a kid, if they asked me what I want to do, I always said to draw. For Z, let me ask him.
Hello.
Now, hello. I'm making a Q&A. So there's a question what you wanted to be as a child. What dream job you had as a child?
No idea.
No idea. You don't remember what you wanted to be?
No.
No?
I never had a big dream.
You never had a big dream?
No, I lived in a small town. I only had small dreams, you know.
Okay, so nothing. That's the answer?
Nothing that serious.
Nothing that's okay, what was the non-serious then?
I don't know. Maybe, you know, I don't know, dealing with cars probably, or something like that. I have no clue.
Oh, you wanted to be an engineer. That's what you said once.
Yeah. Engineer or something like that.
Yeah.
Or architect.
Or architect. Oh yeah. You could be totally good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Na, jó van.
Na?
Jó van, most ezt veszed fel?
Yeah, I'm recording, so you are in it. Okay, bye.
Jó, na, csá.
Mwah. Okay. So it looks like engineer or dealing with cars or architect. Would you ever willing to do a show on how to watercolor painting? Yes, I can. I was thinking maybe on Instagram something shorter, but I don't have a formal education on how to do that, so I can only share what I know and how I do it, so keep this in mind. But yes, I can share it somewhere. Well, let's see when the website is done. If I can still post videos, I can put it there. If not, maybe up on Instagram, just because it's a very different topic than my YouTube content. With all you have all going on, how do you take care of your mental health? You seem to have a great sense of humor and don't take yourself or stuff too seriously. No, I'm not. And that's the only way to survive, honestly. Just to have a humor, and then Zsolt and we both share the same type of kind of humor, so we have a good back and forth with that. And also kids are involved with that as well. They definitely have the same humor, so we have a great time when we trying to figure things out. And that doesn't mean it's always like bubbly and perfect, and you know, no one's life is perfect. It's just how we deal with things. Is humor, it's a good thing. For the mental health, I think big chunk of it is Zsolt. We take care of each other's mental health, and then friends, having good friends, and then the third one is I learned so much about myself. So in the decluttering journey, that was like almost like a years of almost like a meditative zone in my brain as I was going through my stuff, what I should get rid of. So I had to face with so many things and insecurities and issues I had as I was and fears. So as I was letting the items go, I was able to letting go of those things as well, and also get to know myself on a level where I know and recognize where I need to step aside or what I have to do for that. So for example, I think there was a question about how I get motivated, so maybe it applies to that as well. But basically, if I'm unmotivated and there are days like that, and then the house doesn't look good on that day. But that's when I know either I'm not doing well mentally or physically. So I have to take care of that. And if I can, of course, there are days when I cannot go, oh, okay, today I just take it off. It doesn't work like that. We still have to eat. I still have to be on the somewhat schedule to produce the videos. It's not like that, but I take a guilt-free hour or two to fix myself in a way of either go for a walk with a friend or just being outside in the garden. But it's an important key to being guilt-free rest. And then also set aside the distractions and then figuring out what triggered that condition. Sometimes just the inflammation in the body and not feeling as well will be the catapult. So then I reach for the tablet or something, I start to scroll, and then it affecting the mental state. So catching those moments, not to go down and have the snowball effect with that, and then just pick up the pieces by going outside or talking to a friend. It's incredibly helpful. I was wondering if you grew up on a farm or did you learn about plants when you were an adult? You have so much skills. Okay, so I'm going to try to explain in a short form the setup we have. I don't know if they still have it the same way in Hungary, probably they do, but we have lots of houses. I can insert a picture here. So this is where I grew up, in this house, and that house has 60 families. So it was really a small apartment. For the weekend, so you can get out of the house, we had just a small property and there's no water, there's no electricity, nothing. So basically it's just growing vegetables. So you plant them. If rain comes, then you're good. If not, then you're not good. So basically it's just a little garden for vegetables and such. So we had a little cottage on that property, and we spent mostly almost the whole summer there, in a way of we went home, showered, grabbed some food and water, and we went back. But basically all weekends were spent there, and then a couple of weeks on the summer. And basically it was a very hardcore rural living. And while my mom really didn't explain, like, here's the tomato, cut it here, you know, it wasn't like an explanation there. But as a kid you absorb so much, and you can remember words and conversation that you weren't even the part of it, but you just recall, oh yeah, my mom used to say that you have to cut it here and there. So there's a little crumbles from there that I can remember. Although I'm not an expert on garden, I'm still making big mistakes, small mistakes. Something turns out good if I'm lucky. But there are a couple of things that I know, and of course it's a process. I'm still learning. And my grandpa, he had a nursery, so he was making wreaths and such. I still remember the smell of that when we went down to the basement. He had the mosses and all those things. So then if I smelled that, this is the memory that comes back when we went down to the dark basement. And yeah, so I think I picked up some of them from there. How you guys do those beautiful air views? They are stunning. Who is Z and Joel? Okay, Z and Joel is the same thing. I just put in the title his name, the initial letter Joel. It starts with a letter Z, so they are the same person. And then the shots are made with a drone, and we drive around with Joel. If the batteries are all charged and the weather it's all nice and it's not windy, if all the stars are aligned, then we can take some shots. And it's a little bit stressful to me. Joel handles it very well. I'm not even driving it, but he's the one who's controlling it. But because we don't see it, I feel like there's no control. Maybe a wind can blow it away, I don't know. But he can control it very well. And then so I'm just telling my vision, and I'm seeing it on the screen on the phone as he's moving it, and then I'm telling him tilt it a little bit to the left, go faster. So we're trying to communicate that, and then he's doing it actually. So the credit goes there, and I'm extremely thankful to him. He's my rock. I love him so much. He's a good sport. Would you ever see yourself share more recipes? Yes, once my website is at the state where I can handle the posting. Although I'm not going to pushing out recipes like 5 a week. Like I tried around Christmas time, but this is not how it works. It takes time to prove the recipe, figuring out the measurement, and then bake it 2-3 times again, make sure the measurements are good, then adjusting. So there's a lot of work that goes in there, and then take a picture, and then meanwhile I have to make the videos. So it definitely doesn't go as fast as I wish, but definitely will be more recipes, and probably more simplified recipes, because I have to simplify some of my recipes and bring in new ones as I try to do more things in my studio. I want to cut down on the time of cooking. So yes, it's coming. Will be there a project on the master bathroom soon? I want to say yes, but I don't want to promise it, because I said a few times on my channel, oh yeah, that's the next thing we're gonna do. And for sure there's something happened and we couldn't do it. So with the outside project that we have going on, and we're putting out fire, especially because of the weather, we have to get things done. Wow, that's a big burning pile. So we have to get things done that is outside, and that would be the fence. By the way, the chicken, the fence around the chicken area is the chicken coop area is done, and the girls are very happy and they love that area so much. And then for next, we are thinking to do the siding on the studio and fence around my garden, so make sure that deers don't nibble on it. And then after that, that is on the list, to do the master bathroom. It's on the list. It's on the list. Where does your family buy all your vitamins? Do you see a specialist? How do you know which ones to take? So back then, I was doing a lot of research, and we were doing all sorts of diet, mainly the GAPS diet that helped us so much. So I highly recommend. I will leave more information and book about it down below in the description box. But that's when I was kind of just trying to figure things out and doing the detox and such. We had one specialist. He was definitely the best in a way in his field, but it wasn't groundbreaking to us. And then I find somebody who was doing muscle testing. So you can just Google it. I don't want to go in depth with that, but it's called muscle testing, and your body will tell what it needs. And that seemed to be the most helpful, because with all the herbs and vitamins, when you start to take them, and I think I can say it in a lot of people's name, something works for a week, and then after that either it doesn't work, or it just makes the detox so much worse that you need to stop. So with that muscle test, we were able to adjusting weekly what to take and what to support. We have to support the kidney, now the bile. So I would say it's impossible, not impossible, but it's very difficult and dangerous to do on its own. So that's why we have a good professional to do that. So she was our doctor for like, I don't know, for like 6 years or so. And then now we have another one in the last 2 years. So he's on the next level with the acknowledge and everything. So basically it's a constant work on the methylation. So there's a lot of information on it. Basically just Google it, muscle testing, and yes, we buy all the supplements from him with his blessing, so make sure it's something that our body can use and utilize. I love watching your videos every week. Thank you. And I appreciate you uploading so consistently. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that you enjoyed it, and I'm working really hard to be consistent. Do you have days, weeks when you don't feel like shooting, editing videos? Do you feel burned out from time to time? And if you do? What do you keep up with your schedule? How do you keep up with your schedule? I think I had an answer earlier on a similar topic, and then my ultimate answer, yes, I do get burned out, but it's not just the recording or the editing part. It's just so many components. It's like when I have too much on my plate, and I can feel like at times that I'm getting into the hamster wheel. But would I rather to go back to before when I didn't make the videos? No, I love doing that. However, balancing it's another thing. So I didn't have this burnout up until I didn't start to work on the website. This website thing is definitely throwing me over the edge of keeping up with everything. So right now I'm trying to simplify the website so it can still be manageable in a way of not wearing myself out or burning myself out as well. What was your first job? I love your videos. Thank you so much. My first job was the same what I went for school for. We have 3 years of school for that. You have to learn everything, the safety, how the machine works, how to fix them, how the fabrics are made, how to design the clothes, how to make the pattern. So it's like a full package of creating a clothing, and I took this school because that's what I had to do. I would love to know how you moved to gluten and dairy free. Was it all at the same time or on a gradual basis? I have just recently gone gluten free, but find it hard as there is gluten in so many things. I agree. Even things like spices and yogurts. As the family are not gluten free, it means cooking things separately. How do you go about to change in your life? Yeah, there's so much layer to it. I think that deserves a separate post on my website to tell you my story, because I think there's so many benefits that I can share that I would do differently and what would make it easier. It was definitely a huge change and it was extremely difficult, and then I had to learn to cook just just the basic of cooking. And once I started to get the feel of it, then I had to throw out all this on the window and I learned to cook and bake with gluten free. So I will share more details on that probably in the post, but now in the nutshell, it was a huge change. And we started out just with my older son. He needed this intense diet and right away. So we did that, and but at the same time, I wanted to see what is happening with him and what he is going through. So I went to the gluten and dairy free diet with him so I can see the food, what it tastes like. So make sure I don't torture him with food that it's horrible. And then just to feel the symptoms so I can more feel what he's going through. And then for Jules, he was eating still some gluten, and I tried to move on to the more wholesome food. I think I find the Nourishing Tradition by Weston Price Foundation or something along that. And I started to dig into the healthy eating, and that was very eye-opening. And not just that, but all the toxins in the home. So I was obsessed with that to find out more and more. I was very hungry to learn more, and I got so many answers to all the things that we have going on in our family. I started to fix things with our health. Biggest mistake I started to do with the gluten-free diet, but at the time there weren't that many healthy options in the store. I bought gluten-free stuff, but they were even more terrible than the gluten one because they use so many things that's just to make it more edible that they weren't good for our health. So as soon as we started to eat more like a wholesome food, that's when things started to get better. And then the easiest way to do it is just switch one meal at a time. And then we did the cold turkey. That was really rough, even with the detox wise. So I would highly suggest just to find a substitute, whatever you like. If you like a specific food, find a perfect substitute that you can eat, so it won't be that harsh of a transition. Okay, so I'm going to have a post on that in the future. Dairy was a little bit harder for me to give it up. I fell off of the wagon with the whipped cream, but the more I started to eat gluten-free and the more I started to feel the benefit of it, the more I was able to stick to it. So yeah, besides Zsolt's little gluten and dairy here and there, we all went gluten-free, and probably that helped a lot. If I would have to do the way you have to do just for yourself, I would definitely do what I'm doing now, because I eat differently than the rest of the family. I cannot eat sausage. It's not the flavor, it's the texture. If something is bouncing, I can't. I try to embrace and enjoy when I'm making food to myself, because honestly it's a lot easier because the amount is less and I can do whatever I want. But yeah, it's definitely more challenging, but it's doable. I think once you find the rhythm and then you feel the benefit of it, that will be very encouraging. I am binging on your channel for the past 4.5 years. Oh, thank you. I know who you are. Like, I didn't print out the names, but I remember her because she's always leaving a comment. And I read the full question and I know who you are, and thank you so much for watching me that long and for your comments. I always read them. So the next question is, are you ever planning to visit Europe, Hungary again? Yes, it's in the cards, not just yet. There's so many factors to it, but eventually we want to take the boys to show them where we come from, and then just sharing all the memories. Do you get the boys involved in chores? Do they tidy and clean their own rooms? Of course. I think every parent do their kids make chores. It's very important. It's very beneficial. It's for their own good. When I homeschooled the boys, I was able to teach them all I can and share all the tasks, and I didn't have to rush them to do. So in a way of like, you know, when something gets easier to do than make them do. So with homeschooling, I had this opportunity to, I'm waiting. Yeah, you can do that. Sometimes we don't have enough time to have the kids do the chores. So with the homeschooling, it was really an amazing time to teach them. Right now, it's more difficult because they are very busy, but I think they are set for life. I'm not worried about that. What we worked on is to have them the willing to learn and figure it out. And there's no parent that can teach them everything that they need to know. It's up to them what they want to learn. And with the chores, it's part of it. So they have responsibility for the chickens. They're doing it 100%. So they are actually really good help with so many things. And of course, we have millions of other things that they can do with ease, like taking out the garbage, clean up after yourself. That's something I have to keep remind them of. Every time you leave the table, look back. Can you make a good change there? Is there something you left there? And it teaches them responsibility. What is your favorite and least favorite thing about being a YouTuber? My favorite, the favorite part is the creation. I love that I had passion for many things. I love painting, I love cooking, I love, well, to some degree, I love the cleaning or taking care of my home. I think that's the better way to put it, not exactly the cleaning. And then gluten-free cooking, baking, just creating beautiful things. There's so many aspects of it. There's so many things that I like. It would be hard to find a job that would cover it all, but YouTube does. Like, it's like, I feel like there was like a little spider web, a little yarn, and then I was making a little bit here and there, and now it's all tied together and I can do them together. And it's a very creative job. And the creation part, that's my favorite. Besides the creation, I have to put this into the favorite category because this is why I started YouTube, is the connection and the creation of this community. Because it's so nice to see there are people with the same or similar interest or a similar way of thinking, and that's the beauty of it. My least favorite probably is that there's no mercy from the algorithm in a way of taking some break, and then also with the niches you have to be kind of narrow. So with my title I'm getting very narrow, although I share more type of things. What made you choose your kitchen sink? Do you still like it? Does the white stain? I love the way it looks. That was the best purchase of all of the remodeling project. I can full-heartedly say that, and probably if you would ask Joel, he would say the same thing. And here are the reasons why I love that sink. So before we choose that sink, we had a stainless steel one, and it was a deep one because I thought I need a deep sink to be able to wash the big pots. That was my main concern. And then the other fear I had, and why I wanted to have a deep sink, if there's a friend that said, hey, I'm in the neighborhood, I want to stop by, then I can just sweep everything into the kitchen sink from the countertop, and it's, you know, it's not as visible. But with that shallow one, I thought I'm not going to have that option. Plus it's white, it's ceramic, so it's going to collect dirt and stains. Now, my experience with that, because it's shallow, it's so much easier on my back that I'm more willing to wash the dishes. I'm not procrastinating as much because it's so much easier on my body to be in that position. I like the fact that it's wider, so it is actually the key to wash the dishes easier. Also, it is less messy to clean the dishes because it doesn't have that flat surface where my stomach is. It's just a firm sink. So that was another surprising change that I liked. And then I love the grid because it's elevated, so I can rinse off all the crumbs. Now on the stains, it started to stain so badly that I started to regret that sink. And then I remembered I used to use the Bar Keeper Friend, and that did the magic. It's just erased all the stains, so I'm able to keep up with the sink with that. Sometimes I use citric acid. I like to use that when I want to clean the grid because it's just a bigger amount of solution with the water. But if I want to handle the stains, that's the Bar Keeper Friend, and I use the cream version of it. Don't use the powder one because the powder one scratches the surface and then it creates pockets and cavities on the surface of the ceramic, and then all the bacteria and stains will sit in there, and then you're never gonna have a white sink. So that's something else that I learned along the way. But I love that sink so much. And also nothing gets wet around the sink because of the width. So it's a good purchase. It was from Amazon, so I will put the link, at least you know the size we have. I wonder where you get your energy from. That has so many aspects. So let's just go over it. I think I'm a person, I'm kind of like, think about a hummingbird just flopping around like a crazy, and then I get tired. So I'm upbeat and very energized from the morning up until the late afternoon hours. That's when I slow down, and then after 7 o'clock I'm kind of like, I have to push myself to get things done, and sometimes I get a new flood of energy at night. So that's just a personality side of it. However, a lot of people feel unmotivated, tired and overwhelmed, and it has so many factors. I think the major one that can make me tired is the input I have on my brain from the beginning of the day. So I don't turn on my phone in the morning. I only turn on the phone when everybody leaves. There's no phone, there's no tablet, nothing. I don't, maybe a music at some times. If it's around Christmas time, I put on some Christmas music in the morning, but I just appreciate this blank space I have in the morning in my mind when it's not filled up with distraction. And then whatever information we have flooded during the day it takes time to process and think about it, and that distract us, and then it's just a rabbit hole to go down to feel tired. It's just, think about it. If you have a stress in your life and you think about it a lot, it makes you so drained. So the brain uses a lot of power, and it doesn't mean I don't think during the day. Of course I am. It's just I'm not putting junk in there. It's the same. Lot of times what we see online, it's like a fast food. It's just a fast result for the dopamine, and it's like a chips or candies. It gives you a burst of energy, a burst of dopamine, but on the long term it's not good. So that's one part. The other one is the physical part, which I think a lot of people struggle with. It's the inflammation in the body. It's just I think a lot of people are waking up to this information, and then the food that we eat. And I'm not saying we shouldn't eat sweets at all, but we can choose a sweet that is healthier, and then it's pick the time. So for example, so in the morning I like to have some blueberries and such. Those are actually better for me because it has more fiber. I don't do well with the sugar of the fruits. They make me drowsy, they give me brain fog, and then it's just downhill to get there to not to have energy, because when I'm unmotivated, then I sit down more and I'm not doing the things. So knowing those triggers greatly benefit me to get more energized. If somebody doesn't have energy, it's not necessarily because they don't really want to do things. It's just so many health related things to that. Add all the distractions we get from the social media. Watch where your energy goes mind wise, the food that we put into our body. And I'm not saying there's a recipe that fits for all. Figuring out what works for our body, and then that will energize. And also just considering what's going on in our life. Like with the website, what is going on, I feel drained now, so I'm less motivated. So I started to make a cleaning video this week, but I ditched the whole thing and I went into that Q&A video because I felt like I just need a rest, because too much going on with the website to figure it out. Also, who are you being surrendered with? Because there were some people in my life that I like them, I love them, but I had to cut ties with them, not because I don't like them or I'm mad at them, but they were just too draining to me. It's almost like a project, and at times I spent hours on the phone to have to motivate them or talk to them, and that time I had to take this away to finish my video, and my video went up late. So it's almost like considering where I pour my energy, and that doesn't mean I don't want to have two people, but we have to have boundaries with that. And then that person doesn't change over the 10 years, of course, then it's still the same issue, then the habit's not working. Have following you from the beginning of your journey. Oh wow, thank you so much. You are getting amazingly professional in your ways, both in your work and personal life. Thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate you being here. What keeps you going to do better day by day? Curiosity and learning. And I think this too. Curiosity and learning. And creativity. Let's add this to it. So let's combine these three. I was curious about how this whole editing software works, and how not exactly how it works, how I can improve my videos, how I can make it more, better. And with that rabbit hole I went down to discover, and the curiosity led me to discover more, and then the creativity fed me to work with that. Does it make sense? But I think these three words actually the motor of this whole evolving, And this is how I am with everything, with the cooking, baking, art, gardening. It's just like an endless possibilities to discover or pivot, changing up things, and not to get stuck with the same mundane thing. And yeah, probably that's the answer to that. Are you satisfied where you have reached today? I am. I'm very, very, very incredibly thankful. My heart is full, and I never thought I can do this and I can be there where I am today, because it's even more that I asked for. So I wanted to have a country life, and then a little house, and then a little garden. And I know on the YouTube scales, our manufactured home is not an incredibly beautiful thing to look at it. And then the inside is beautiful because we make it beautiful, and we made it beautiful with the remodeling. And then the angles I shoot, it makes it look nicer and then cozier with the whole the way I putting things. But it's definitely not the most beautiful home. I know that it's not a Pinterest home, but I love it, and I love every square inch of this house. I love the layout and everything about it. I love it. And then with the property, it's beyond, it's so much fun, and it gives us so much projects. And then we like projects. We wanna accomplish things here, so it's really fun. So I am happy with that. Channel wise, I'm happy too, in a way of, I think you guys are the most awesome subscribers, and I full-heartedly say that, because the comments are so respectful. Of course there's a few gems, but I always think about that when you drive in a little town and everybody is so friendly and waving, and then as you have more subscribers, you drive in a bigger town, you see friendly people, and then you see people who honking because you're going too slow or whatever reason. They don't have to have a reason. And they drive like crazy. Now when you drive in a big city, and that's how I think with a bigger channel, you came across with other people that drive like crazy. I'm still blown away that you guys are still coming back. That's incredible. Thank you so much. With that channel, I think there's more room to improve, or I have to figure out more how to improve, because the last year I haven't had a big growth. And then of course there are seasons when you don't grow a big, or you don't, but I was in an incredible shuffling position at times for months. I was just really shuffling. So that's when you start to question yourself. Is this what I'm supposed to do? Are the people still enjoying? You know, all those questions that pop into the mind. But then you guys come back, show up, and then write those kind messages and comments, and that keeps me going. But I can't complain, because I get to the point where I never thought I will be. It's just, you know, when you work on something really hard, even if it's a slow growth, it's nice to see a slow growth. And then the shuffling is not fun. And then this year was not really creator friendly for me. Like in January, with all this copyright issue, I did not see it's coming. That really damaged my channel in algorithm wise. So that was just the start. And then my father passed away in February, and then March rolled around. I think that's when I had the eye infection. So each month has its own challenges. Of course, it's life, and everybody else has their own thing going on. But as a creation wise, it's definitely impacting what I can put out. And hopefully now it's going to be a smoother sailing, and I can provide you something that makes you smile, maybe makes you laugh, and then it just gives you a warm feeling to your heart, because I want this place to be a peaceful break, and you just need a couple of moments of break from everything. And this is the island that I want to create for that. But when you come here, you rest a little bit, and then you move on and then you just do your thing afterwards. Anyway, I hope I didn't talk your ears off. It's really hard to share the honest thoughts, what's on my heart, and I hope I was able to articulate in a way what I'm exactly thinking, and you get what I meant with that. And thank you so much for being here, coming back, showing up each week, and watching until the end of this video. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. I mean, I hope to see you in the next video.